Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Universal Job Transfer. I can extract skills from all realms. Chapter 21. It's not just as simple as the top 10 universities in Dragon Kingdom. There are only 10 students admitted to the Southwest Military Academy every year, and all of them are the elite of the elite, and the lowest talent level is S level. They knew Zheng Feng's talent level clearly. It's only E class. What's going on? Could it be that they made a mistake? They probably have the same name. Otherwise, how could it be possible? That's right, how could a person with an E-level talent be personally invited by the principal of Southwest Military Academy? Impossible, absolutely impossible, there must be a mistake. Chen Gang ignored the discussion among the people at this time. He just looked at Zheng Feng in front of him with a smile. Zheng Feng was just about to return when he heard an energetic voice coming from behind him. Old Chen, are you going a little too far? This place doesn't seem to be within the scope of your jurisdiction. If you just come here to pull people away, are you not giving me face? While he was talking, an extremely strong man stepped in from outside the yard. Let me go, isn't this person Luonan, one of the top 10 strongest men in the military? Why is he here? Is it possible that he is also here for Zheng Feng? Don't scare me, let alone a person with E-level talent. Even an SS-level person may not be able to send two people out at the same time, right? Chen Gang stared at Luonan, who came in and sneered. Luonan, this matter has nothing to do with you. Why doesn't it matter? Zheng Feng, right, I'm here to invite you on behalf of our Tianzhong University. Tianzhong University is in our Zhujiang city, right at your doorstep. Do you know which one you should choose? Everyone around him suddenly took a breath. What bullshit, Tianzhong University? Also your Southwest Military Academy, Chen Gang, step aside for lousy. A figure fell directly from the sky. This kid is the one that our Qingbei University has chosen. Don't even think about it. Go back and sleep. An old man with white beard and hair stood directly next to Zheng Feng. You immortal thing, what are you doing here? This guy is the one I like. Fart, I came first. The three funny people in charge started arguing in front of everyone. Zheng Feng, as long as you agree to join our Southwest Military Academy, you will be given a military rank from the moment you enter the school. All the resources of the military will be tilted towards you. As long as you nod now, when you graduate, I can promise you to become my successor directly. The people around him began to tremble uncontrollably. Don't listen to him, don't look at his position. It sounds nice, but in fact it's just a burden. As long as you are willing to join our Tianzhong University, we can give you a house, a car, training resources, and everything else. Moreover, we can give you absolute freedom. No matter what you want to do in the future, as long as it does not harm society, we will support you. People around him already found themselves out of breath. Little doll, what do you want those for? As long as you agree to join our Qingbei University, I guarantee that 10 years from now, you will definitely have a place among the next 10 people in Daxia. This is incomparable to any honor, any position, or any money. Some people around him were already frightened and fainted by the benefits proposed by these three people. Fortunately, no one broadcast the current scene live, otherwise, a large number of people would be scared to death. Three of you, you just come to my door and ask me to choose. Isn't it a little impolite? As for which college I want to choose, I will make my own decision. I also hope that the three of you will not disturb my normal life. Thank you. Everyone around looked at Zheng Feng as if he were a fool. Such a good opportunity is now in front of us, and this boy can actually say such a thing. Isn't this a brain disease? The three people who were still arguing at first looked at Zheng Feng immediately after hearing his words. It's over, it's over. Isn't this Zheng Feng stupid? What is his identity? He invited him personally, but he still dares to refuse directly. Let me see, Zheng Feng is finished. He has offended three big guys at once, and there is no way he can be saved. I really don't know what this guy is thinking. If it were me, I would definitely agree directly. Such a great opportunity. The three people's eyes were looking at Zheng Feng at the moment. Luonan asked directly and coldly. What did you say? Say it again. All the people watching on the side were too excited to breathe at this time. If Luonan was really angry, they would probably turn into ashes here in an instant. Apologize, you kid, Hurry up and apologize. You kid, it's up to you to pretend, don't drag us into the water. The people around him, without exception, were urging Zheng Feng in their hearts, but they still did not dare to speak. At this moment, Zheng Feng still maintained his previous appearance, as if Luonen's angry words had no impact on him at all. He didn't care at all about the identities of the three people in front of him. I still say the same thing, I want to decide this matter myself. Although you are all important people, you have no right to make decisions for me. Everyone around was holding their breath at this moment. This guy really deserves to die. How dare you say that now? Ha ha ha. To everyone's surprise, after hearing Zheng Feng's answer at this moment, the three people were not angry. Instead, they all laughed together. Okay, that's right. The three of us did not do something right this time. We apologize to you in advance. We will stay here temporarily during this period. If you want to understand, just find someone to contact us directly. We respect your choice. After saying that, the three people who originally seemed to want to fight for Zheng Feng were now laughing and discussing where to go to drink next. After everyone evacuated from the courtyard, everyone on the side breathed a sigh of relief. At this moment, when they looked at Zheng Feng again, it was obvious that there was a deep fear in their eyes. The situation just now was like that. None of the three big guys caused any trouble to Zheng Feng. It is conceivable that as long as nothing unexpected happens in the future, Zheng Feng will definitely become such a big boss. While they still had the chance, they naturally wanted to fawn more. Avertisement. Zheng Feng, I have watched you grow up since childhood. When you become successful in the future, you must not forget about me, Uncle Qian. Yes, Zheng Feng, I have been optimistic about you since you were a child. You will definitely be outstanding in the future. Zheng Feng, don't cook at your house tonight. Come to my house to eat. I just bought meat today. Let's drink broth tonight. Zheng Feng declined all the favors from his neighbors with a smile on his face. He helped Han Mengxin back to his home. Just after returning home, Han Mengxin grabbed Zheng Feng before she could finish it. Xiaowen, what happened? Why do so many big shots suddenly come to you? It could be seen that Han Mengxin was not very happy because of what just happened. On the contrary, at this time, she was worried about her child. Mom, I haven't told you yet, but I won first place in the martial arts test this time. Those people just now probably came to me because of this matter. First place. Han Mengxin didn't quite believe what Zheng Feng said. She knew very well that her child only had E-level talent. How could it be possible to get first place? What's going on? Tell your mother honestly. If you don't explain clearly, my mother will really feel uneasy. Seeing Han Mengxin's current appearance, Zheng Feng also sighed slightly. I briefly talked about the martial arts exam. Of course, he still chose to hide some important things, such as the fact that there was a system in his body. So that's it. It seems like God is blessing you. Mom, I'm relieved. But since Xiaowen you are now ranked first, have you thought clearly about which school to go to? In fact, the three schools that just came to you are pretty good. Zheng Feng also smiled lightly when he heard his mother mention this matter. Don't worry, Mom, I have made my own decision, but I can't tell you yet. You will naturally know when the time comes. Inside a hotel room in Zhujiang City. Tonight, relevant leaders from three high schools and the Education Bureau are having dinner together. After the Director of Education took a sip of wine, he also said to the three principals in front of him, I just got some shocking news from above. Following the words of the Director of the Education Bureau, the three principals present stopped their chopsticks and looked at him. Director, what's going on? Seeing the excitement on the director's face at this moment, the principal of No. 2 Middle School also asked curiously. Haven't the results of this martial arts test been announced by the headquarters already? I heard that the guy who ranks first in the country's points this time is in our Zhujiang City. What? The number one pick in the country is actually on our side. The three principals' eyes widened immediately. I haven't received any news about the specific person, but according to the information I have, the heads of three universities have arrived in our Zhujiang City. I guess we'll know who won the overall number one pick tomorrow. Three principals, you look at me and I look at you. Next, the principal of No. 1 middle school directly raised his glass and toasted to the principal of No. 2 middle school. According to the information I know, your No. 2 middle school has produced a strong person with SS level talent this year, and it might be him. The principal of No. 3 middle school next to him also expressed his voice. The principal of the number 2 middle school calmly accepted the toasts from the two people around him. If none of the SS level talent holders in his school can get the overall top pick, then there will be no one in Zhejiang City who can get it. It must be that little guy from my school. Thinking that the heads of the 3 major universities might go to their own school tomorrow, the principal of the number 2 middle school seemed to be smiling crookedly at the moment. Even at the end, the director of the Education Bureau personally came to him and toasted him with a glass of wine. Even said some nice things. Director, you are out of sight now. Don't worry, I will definitely say something nice about you in front of those people tomorrow. Early the next morning, Zheng Feng, who just got up, had no intention of going to the school. But there was no way. Lao Zhang called early in the morning and asked him to take the makeup test for the literary test today. Zheng Feng, who really couldn't refuse, told his mother and immediately rushed to the school. At the school gate, Lao Zhang had been waiting there for a long time, looking around and looking at the watch on his wrist from time to time. When he saw Zheng Feng trotting over just now, he immediately became furious. What did I tell you, boy, yesterday? I told you to come early today. If you come here 20 minutes later, you will miss the makeup exam that I managed to win for you. What are you still doing? Hurry over to the examination room. Just when Lao Zhang was teaching Zheng Feng a lesson, the principal happened to drive to the school gate. Lowering the window, he shouted to Lao Zhang standing outside. Old Zhang, come on, get in the car, I'll take you to No. 2 middle school to meet the big shot today. Heads of the 3 major universities, this is a rare opportunity. Lao Zhang really didn't care about this, but waved his hand. Principal, just go there yourself. Aren't I going to help the kid take the makeup exam for the liberal arts exam today? I don't have that time. Lao Zhang directly rejected the principal's kindness. Zheng Feng, who was standing beside him, was really stunned. He naturally knew who the 3 people the principal was talking about were. But why does the other party want to go to No. 2 middle school? Did they really make a mistake yesterday? Just when Zheng Feng felt a little confused, he heard a familiar voice behind him. Turning around, I saw Luonan and the other 3 walking in from outside the school gate. This place is great. Yes, no wonder we can cultivate such an outstanding boy as Zheng Feng. After I go back, I have to tell my superiors that this school can still use a little more investment. The 3 of them looked left and right, nodding from time to time, seemingly very satisfied. Hey, why did this kid come to school today? One of them also saw Zheng Feng standing here at a glance, and then the 3 of them walked directly towards this side together. Who are you 3? Do you know where this place is? Who let you come in casually? Get out of the way for me quickly, don't waste my time. The principal retracted his body back into the car. Before he could see clearly who the 3 people were, he shouted. Lao Zhang, who was standing nearby, recognized one of them. After hearing the principal's scolding, he coughed quickly. Principal, take a good look at who they are. The principal took off his sunglasses and took a closer look. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead. He quickly got out of the car and said to the 3 people very embarrassedly. Why did you 3 come to my place? Why didn't you tell me in advance so that I could arrange for people to welcome you 3 here? The principal, who knew that he had done something wrong before, lowered his head at the moment and did not dare to show any anger. Didn't I say that these 3 big guys are going to No. 2 middle school today? How could he appear in his 3rd middle school now? Who are you? We have to notify you in advance when we come here. Luonan immediately snorted coldly. We're curious and want to come and have a look at your school, wouldn't we? We don't care about those fancy things. Okay, you can just go about your business. Let's take a stroll. Zheng Feng, please take us around your school. With that said, Luonan said something to Zheng Feng. Zheng Feng was about to agree, but Lao Zhang, who was standing next to him, said directly. No, this child still has to take the literary test. I don't care what your status is, you can't delay the child's future. If you want to take a stroll, just go on your own. Okay, Zhang Feng, why are you still standing here? Don't you know what you are here to do today? After Lao Zhang finished speaking, he glanced at Zhang Feng with dissatisfaction. Zhang Feng had no choice but to look at the three people in front of him and turned around to do what Lao Zhang asked. Although I don't really want to, isn't there nothing I can do now? Teacher, I think you must have misunderstood something. This kid won the first place in the martial arts exam, so why did he take the liberal arts exam? Isn't this a waste of a good talent? That won't work either. What's wrong with being number one in the martial arts exam? Lao Zhang retorted subconsciously, but the next moment, he froze on the spot. He asked with some confusion towards Chen Gang, who spoke. Big brother, what did you just say? This kid is number one in the martial arts exam. The principal of No. 2 Middle School, who was still standing on the edge and did not dare to leave directly, looked at the three people in front of him in surprise. Don't you know yet? Chen Gang frowned slightly. Oh, no wonder, the detailed list will be sent out today. It's normal that you don't know. Okay, teacher, now that you know that Zhang Feng got the first place in the martial arts test, you don't need to take this literary test, right? Lao Zhang did not answer in a hurry, but turned around and looked at Zhang Feng. Boy, give me a slap now and let me see if I'm dreaming. Regarding Lao Zhang's request at this moment, Zhang Feng also smiled helplessly. Laoban, although I don't know if it's true, I think these three people won't deceive you. The principal next to him was also in shock before he recovered. Three big guys, I heard that we have the top pick in the martial arts test in Zhujiang City this time. Could it be that he is also the one? The hand pointed at Zhang Feng by the principal of number 2 Middle School was trembling slightly. Yes, they are already number one, how could they not be the overall number one? Chen Gang looked at the principal of number 2 Middle School as if he were an idiot. You three, come on, please come and sit in my office. The principal of No. 2 Middle School was extremely excited at the moment. Last night at the wine party, he was still envious of the principal of No. 2 Middle School. But who knew that this great good luck would hit him directly on the head? If he was really dreaming now, he would probably wake up laughing. Who are you? We are not here for you. Just do whatever you have to do. Didn't you just dislike us blocking the way? Just let this kid Zhang Feng accompany us. Get out of our way now. Although he was scolded again by one of the three bosses, the principal of No. 2 Middle School still had a smile on his face. Okay, I'll get out now. At this time, Zhang Feng naturally started to take them to wander around the campus at the request of the three big guys. As for Lao Zhang, he was naturally still caught in the strong shock he had brought before. The matter of urging Zhang Feng to take the literary test has come to an end for the time being. He now needs enough time to digest the explosive information he just heard. An hour later, Zhang Feng, who was strolling with the three bosses, found Lao Zhang in the office again. The three big guys originally wanted to come with them, but after Zhang Feng persuaded them, they left the campus. Old man, don't you think I don't want to take the literary test? I really don't have a chance. Lao Zhang also smiled helplessly at what Zhang Feng said at this moment. Why does this kid deserve a beating now? Since your kid got the first place in the country, have you decided which college to choose? The heads of those three universities must have come to you to discuss choosing a school. Do you have any decision? Don't miss this opportunity. Seeing Elder Zhang, who was speaking very seriously at this moment, Zhang Feng naturally smiled. Didn't I ask you, Laoban, for reference? These colleges and universities, if you just let me listen to what they say, each one is better than the last. If you ask me, I still have to rely on you, Laoban, to help me choose. Lao Zhang suddenly glanced at Zhang Feng angrily. Okay, I know what you probably have in mind, but since you asked me to recommend it, I still think it's better for you to choose Southwest Military Academy. The teaching quality there is excellent. In addition, because it is a military school, some actual combat will be organized when you enter, which can help you accumulate combat experience. Just studying hard and talking on paper are all fake. Practice is the only way to improve your strength. After listening to Lao Zhang's analysis, Zhang Feng naturally nodded. He actually thought so in the beginning. Okay, it's getting late. You guys should go back early. You can come back when you fill out your application later. After Zhang Feng thanked his old classmate, he also walked towards the school gate. Unexpectedly, as soon as he arrived at the school gate, he bumped into Zhao Zongyi and his aunt Han Mengyao, who came to pick up Zhao Tingting. Hey, isn't this Zhang Feng? I heard that your old class specially applied for you to take a makeup exam for the liberal arts exam for your future. When Han Mengyao saw Zhang Feng, she couldn't help but mocked him. Zhang Feng's eyes fell on the car. Zhao Tingting seemed to be in a bad condition. She was lying on the back seat and fell asleep. What are you looking at, you piece of shit? If you look again I will pluck out your eyes. Zhao Zongyi, who was standing aside, naturally saw Zhang Feng's gaze at this moment and immediately snorted coldly. Husband, what are you doing? If he wants to see it, just let him see it a few more times. Our daughter got more than 50 points in this martial arts exam. Although she can't get into good colleges and universities, ordinary colleges and universities are rushing to get her. From now on, I'm afraid this kid won't be able to see his cousin again. We're both people, so why is there such a big gap? Regarding Han Mengyao's ridicule at this moment, Zhang Feng naturally sneered in reply. Yes, they are the same people, so why are there such big differences? My cousin is dressed like this. Auntie, you must have helped her dress up, right? You don't have any strength, so you just want to seduce others. But it seems that my cousin is not charming enough. It seems that she didn't seduce anyone, right? Oh, it's no wonder. Auntie, you don't seem to be good at it yourself, and coupled with your uncle's appearance, tisk tisk tisk, I even sometimes wonder if Zhao Tingting is your uncle's biological child. Han Mengyao's face suddenly turned livid. What did you say, little fool? What are you looking at? Your mother can't give birth to a child, and I don't know where I picked up a like you. If I were your mother, I would have pretended to be dead. A waste with an E-level talent will not be at the bottom of society in the future, so why do you have to live so hard? Seriously, I'll tell you the first thing when you go back. While she's still pretty, go out and be a young lady. Then you won't need to come to our house every now and then to borrow money. Snapped. As soon as Han Mengyao finished speaking, Zhang Feng was already in front of her. He was slapped without any politeness. You're looking for death. Han Mengyao touched her burning face at the moment, her eyes fierce as if she wanted to eat Zhang Feng. Husband, why are you still standing there? This kid actually dares to touch me, you have to destroy him. Zhao Zongyi next to him was not useless, and he immediately pulled out a short sword. Zhao Zongyi is a person with B-level talent. Otherwise, he would not be able to afford to live in that villa. Little fool, you don't have a father, so let me teach you a lesson. As he spoke, he raised the short sword in his hand and stabbed Zhang Feng directly. Zhao Zongyi, what are you doing in my territory? Suddenly, a loud shout came from behind Zhang Feng, and Zhang Feng, who was about to take action, immediately stopped and moved. A gray wild wolf rushed directly in front of Zhang Feng and blocked Zhao Zongyi's attack. Principal Cheng, this is my housework, I advise you to leave it alone. Zhao Zongyi glanced at the visitor and his tone was a little cold. Housework, Zhao Zongyi, for the sake of us being classmates before, I advise you to be polite to Zhang Feng in the future. The principal walked to Zhang Feng and asked if Zhang Feng was okay. After Zhang Feng shook his head, he looked at Zhao Zongyi again. Get out of here, you'd better believe what I say, otherwise no one can save you. Zhao Zongyi snorted coldly. Stop trying to act like a principal here. I've taught this kid a lesson. Do you want me to be polite to him in the future? He's a loser, why should I be polite to him? If you dare to help him deal with me, I won't mind teaching you a lesson too. Zhao Zongyi stepped forward directly. The aura all over the body opens directly. A chilling air instantly rippled around him, centered on him. Zhang Feng frowned slightly. This was the first time he felt the true strength of his uncle. This kind of terrifying momentum, I'm afraid it won't be much worse against a 4th-level beast. Well said, if you have the ability, you can teach me a lesson too. An extremely serious voice sounded beside several people at this moment. The moment the principal heard this voice, he also stepped forward in person and blocked Zhang Feng in front of him. Who is it? You are playing tricks. Get out of here. Zhao Zongyi looked around and frowned. Just the confidence of the other party's words at this moment actually made him want to leave here. The other party's strength should be above his own. Want to see me? Okay, but I'm not letting you see me for nothing, you have to pay something, right? Both arms are fine, after all, there are still young people here, too much blood is always not good. As soon as the voice fell, Zhao Zongyi's eyes widened. A figure appeared beside him at this moment, and then his two arms directly made a sound of broken bones. He didn't even see how the other party attacked. Who are you? Looking at the strong man with his back to him, Zhao Zongyi also asked with gritted teeth. Who am I? Is it your business? Chen Gang slowly turned around. After seeing Chen Gang's appearance clearly, Zhao Zongyi also took a breath of cold air. How could it be this guy? Shouldn't he only appear on TV? Why did he show up here? Even to help Zhang Feng, that waste. A series of questions kept appearing in Zhao Zongyi's mind at this moment. Go away, remember, he is not someone you can mess with. If I know that you still want to attack this little guy, I don't mind making your whole family disappear from the world. Chen Gang's tone was very serious. No one can be unbelievable. Why? Zhao Zongyi still asked, but the next second, his right leg also made a sound of bone breaking. That's why. Husband, what's wrong with you? Han Meixen, who was standing beside him, was stunned. Seeing Zhao Zongyi couldn't stand steadily at this moment and fell directly on the car, she was a little anxious. Who are you? What did you do to my husband? She angrily questioned Chen Gang in front of her. You just provoked someone you shouldn't have provoked. I'll give you 10 seconds to disappear from here, otherwise, I won't mind destroying your whole family. Chen Gang seemed a little angry. The anger in his tone was extremely clear. Han Meiyao wanted to say something else, but was stopped by Zhao Zongyi after all. Help me get in the car, let's go. Did you hear me? Help me get in the car, and then hurry up. Han Meixen stared at Zhang Feng who was standing behind Chen Gang bitterly. She first helped Zhao Zongyi get into the car, then got into the passenger seat and drove away. Principal Cheng has done a good job, I can see it. Chen Gang also turned around and said something to the principal at this time, and then his eyes fell on Zhang Feng. Boy, this is for you. As he spoke, a token flew out of Chen Gang's hand. Zhang Feng subconsciously caught it. It doesn't actually matter whether you will choose our Southwest Military Academy. If you are interested, we can still meet in the military camp after you graduate. This token still has 3 chances to be used. Once you encounter any danger, just go and break this token. The Southwest Army closest to you will arrive immediately. You only have 3 chances, kid, don't use them casually. Zhang Feng naturally took a breath when he heard this. The function of this token can actually mobilize the Southwest Army, the best fighting force in the entire Dragon Kingdom. You know, the Southwest Army has a terrifying record of killing late 8th level ferocious beasts. He could actually use it 3 times, so Zhang Feng immediately put the token away carefully. Principal Cheng, I heard that you seem to have collected a lot of good tea leaves. You won't let me stand here all the time, right? Principal Cheng was not stupid, so he naturally understood what Chen Gang meant. Brother Chen Gang, that's what you said. Let's go to my office now. I'll take out my best tea leaves for you to evaluate. That's so good. Chen Gang did not continue to follow Zhang Feng, but returned to the school with Principal Cheng. In the next month, Zhang Feng was naturally not idle. He applied to Lao Zhang for the right to use the training room in the school. During this month, he basically spent time in the training room. 1 month also allowed Zhang Feng to fully experience the abilities brought by sparkling fruit. For example, Zhang Feng has almost integrated the 8-foot Magatama and the elementalization that Kizaru often uses. The only pity is that he was unable to participate in actual combat during this period. However, according to his own estimation of his current abilities, he can basically kill indiscriminately against guys below the 4th level of ferocious beasts. The practice during this period also made Zhang Feng feel the strengthening of his body. The whole person's temperament has also undergone earth-shaking changes. Finally, the day came in the blink of an eye to fill in the application form. Zhang Feng came to school again after talking to his mother early in the morning. As soon as he entered the school gate, he saw Chen Tingting from a distance. As if affected by the last time she was possessed by a ferocious beast, Chen Tingting's face was still a little pale. Seeing Zhang Feng walking in from a distance, Chen Tingting looked a little panicked. Chen Tingting obviously didn't want to recall what happened during the martial arts test, but for some reason, every time he thought of Zhang Feng, he would think back to what happened. He actually didn't know why in his heart, but he just instinctively felt disgusted. It's not that he is disgusted with Zhang Feng, but he is a little disgusted with himself. But Zhang Feng, as if he didn't see Chen Tingting at all, walked directly in front of her. Entering the class, Zhang Feng found that class monitor Shui Jingru had already arrived and was sitting in her seat. Seeing Zhang Feng's door, Shui Jingru immediately said hello to him. Have you decided which colleges to apply to? I heard that many heads of the top 10 universities came to our side this time. It seems that they are for someone who has won the first place in the standings. Do you know who that person is? It seems that the complete list will be released today, and I don't know where I can rank on it. But based on the score you gave me, I should still be able to get into the college I want to go to. After all, I still want to say thank you to you now. Seeing Shui Jingru's appearance at this moment, Zhang Feng naturally felt a little happy. After a while, everyone in the class was basically here, but because today was the release of the martial arts exam results, some people in the class still didn't come. Lao Zhang coughed slightly, and his eyes finally fell on Zhang Feng. I think everyone should be very clear about the relevant procedures for filling out the application form. The score list of our makeup exam will be released soon. At that time, you will all choose the corresponding colleges and universities according to your ranking on the martial arts exam score list. You only have one chance, so don't be too ambitious and choose the corresponding college based on last year's score lines. After Lao Zhang finished speaking, he and the whole class started waiting. At 10 o'clock in the morning, as the school bell rang, this time the martial arts test results ranking list was finally released. Let me go. My points can only be ranked 520th, but luckily, there are 2 schools to choose from, but it scares me to death. Ha ha ha, I was able to reach more than 400 people. It's really God's blessing. Quick, 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 let's see who is number 1. After a group of people saw their rankings, they were all curious about who was number 1 this time. Although the ranking of the previous results has not been released, people have been saying that the points of the first place this time will far exceed that of the second place. Naturally, everyone is curious about how many points the first place score is. But when everyone started searching for the points for the first place according to the performance list, they found that the points for the first place were directly hidden. They couldn't even see the name of the first place, but it was blank. What's going on? In previous years, the first place always had a name. I don't know. Who knows what will happen this time? Is it because you want to protect the first place on purpose? Probably not. Who will protect the first place? Everyone was extremely curious about the phenomenon they saw at this moment. Of course, Lao Zhang, who had long known who was number 1, also looked towards Zhang Feng at this moment. Shui Jingru didn't care who came first. After filling out his application form, he walked over to Zhang Feng. Zhang Feng, what's your ranking? According to what my elder brother told me at the beginning, he estimates that your ranking this time will not be too low. Zhang Feng smiled at Shui Jingru's question at this moment. You can't tell him directly that you are number 1, right? Well, my ranking is about the same. At least there are good schools to choose from. By the way, which college did you choose? Shui Jingru did not hide anything about the school she applied to. Southwestern Associated University. Although we are in the same military academy as Southwest University, it is a pity that I cannot enter Southwest Military Academy due to my ranking. But being able to have close contact with people from the Southwest Military Academy is actually very satisfying. By the way, which school did you fill in? Will we be nearby then? Hearing Shui Jingru's question to him at this moment, Zhang Feng smiled. The school I applied for is also near the Southwest Military Academy. Maybe we can meet often then. Where is your eldest brother? Which school did your eldest brother attend? My eldest brother seems to have applied for the Southwest Military Academy, but he said that he may not have enough points and may be a little hung up. Thinking of Shui Tianyuan's appearance, Zhang Feng also smiled helplessly. What is all this about? I didn't expect that they would all come together in the end. Okay, all of you, please turn in your application form. In about a week, you will receive the admission notice from the school you filled in. Here I wish all students good luck in the future, and we will see each other again. After Lao Zhang finished speaking, each student handed in his or her volunteer form. Of course, when submitting applications, some people will inevitably look at each other to see which school the other party has applied for. I'll go, Zhengfeng is awesome. How dare you enroll in Southwest Military Academy? No, buddy, what are you thinking? Your talent is E-level. Even if I beat you to death, you shouldn't go to the Southwest Military Academy. Yes, Zhengfeng, isn't this just like wasting this opportunity to fill out your application? What, Zhengfeng, you applied for Southwest Military Academy? Shui Jingru naturally heard the exclamations of other students at this moment. However, compared to other students who did not believe in Zhengfeng, he actually believed that Zhengfeng could be admitted to the Southwest Military Academy. And when he was in that forest, the strength Zhengfeng showed could actually prove everything. The eldest brother, who was never willing to praise others, made no secret of his praise of Zhengfeng. Even when I asked him about it, he made it clear that Zhengfeng's points would only be more than his own, and definitely not less than his own. But when he heard the exclamations from the classmates around him, Zhengfeng didn't pay much attention. What they think is their business. Zhengfeng, do you want to leave the school together later? Shui Wanyi stepped forward and asked. Zhengfeng naturally wanted to ask Shui Tianyuan about his volunteer situation, so he simply agreed. 10 minutes later, at the school gate, Zhengfeng also saw the familiar squinting eyes. Following Shui Tianyuan, Su Fengyu also waved hello with an indifferent expression. How is it, Zhengfeng, did you also apply for Southwest Military Academy? Shui Tianyuan stepped forward and asked Zhengfeng directly. Of course, what about you? Just like you two guys are really serious. Give me another 3 years, and I will definitely be able to push you two to the ground and rub them. Su Fengyu beside him clenched his fists helplessly when he heard the conversation between the two. 3 years, I'm afraid you will only get beaten after 3 years. Shui Tianyuan glanced at his friend beside him and said coldly. Su Fengyu did not answer at this moment. He actually knew very well that there was indeed a big gap between his talent and these two guys. But time will tell. Okay, I'll wait for you. Zhengfeng glanced at Su Fengyu. He actually quite admires Su Fengyu. Okay, I've filled out my application, what are you talking about? We all have 1 month left. Do you want to think about where to go and play? Shui Jingru suggested from the side. Just as Zhengfeng was about to answer, Chen Gang suddenly appeared beside them. Sorry, Zhengfeng has been admitted in advance. He will leave for Southwest Military Academy in a week. By the way, who is there another student in your school named Shui Tianyuan? No one thought that Chen Gang would suddenly appear at this time. Especially the news that came out of his mouth at this time made all the students around him fall into deep shock. What? Zhengfeng was admitted in advance? No way, how is it possible with his talent? No, buddy, look who this person is. This is the official person in charge of the Southwest Military Academy. He came here personally to speak out. How could it be false? Ah, what kind of bad luck did this kid Zhengfeng get? No one seemed to believe what was happening in front of them. But Chen Gang, who still stayed here and was looking for something around, was telling everyone that what he just said was true. Even Zhengfeng himself was stunned. No one told him in advance that he would start school so early after applying for Southwest Military Academy. It's not really the beginning of school, but it's too late. Shui Tianyuan was also in shock at this time. His original choice was naturally the Southwest Military Academy. But according to his estimation of his ranking, it is actually very dangerous for him to enter the Southwest Military Academy. But he never thought that Chen Gang, the head of the Southwest Military Academy, suddenly appeared in front of him. He first said something that shocked everyone, and then asked him about it. The meaning is actually very obvious. Hello, I am Shui Tianyuan. Chen Gang looked Shui Tianyuan up and down. Is your boy Shui Tianyuan? Okay, you and Zhengfeng should prepare themselves. I will come here to pick you up in 7 days. I don't care what other matters you have yet to deal with. If I can't see you in 7 days, then your chance of admission will be given up this time. Chen Gang didn't say much else. After saying that, he turned around and walked away. The students who were still looking shocked at this moment were left behind. Brother, Jung Feng, you are actually admitted to the Southwest Military Academy. I'm so happy. After I enter the school, I must go and play with you. Shui Wanyi was standing beside her now, her face full of excitement. Standing not far away, the students in their class could not care less about the ridicule they had made at Jung Feng when they were filling in their application forms. They also quickly gathered around, everyone with a smile on their face. They kept congratulating Jung Feng. Naturally, Jung Feng didn't pay much attention to the congratulations from these people at this moment. Nodding casually, Jung Feng naturally wanted to tell his mother the news quickly. 7 days. In 7 days, I will embark on a journey to college. My mother didn't know what to do next. If that doesn't work, why don't you ask your mother to go with you to the Southwest Military Academy? After talking to Shui Jingru and his sister, Jung Feng ran directly towards his yard. Just after returning home, before Jung Feng had time to speak, Han Mengxin spoke to Jung Feng with excitement. Xiao Wen, do you know who came just now? It was one of the 3 people who appeared in our yard last time. He seemed to be the person in charge of the Southwest Military Academy. He said that the restaurant at the Southwest Military Academy currently lacks a cleaner. He wanted to ask me if I would like to go there. Jung Feng was also stunned when he heard this. Why did Chen Gang arrive at his mother's place so early? He probably didn't know that the Southwest Military Academy he applied for was the one he applied for. Could it be that guy is actually behind, secretly spying on me? But for now, Jung Feng is still very happy. Not only did he enter the Southwest Military Academy, but his mother didn't have to stay here alone, and there was still work to do there. This is really great news. Han Mengxin didn't know yet that her son had been admitted to the Southwest Military Academy. She, who was still smiling at first, looked at Jung Feng standing in front of her and said immediately, why don't I agree to him for the time being? After all, Xiao Wen, you are still not sure which college you will go to in the future. If I go there, who will take care of you there? What if you come back from vacation or something and I'm not at home, what will you do alone? Hearing his mother's worries, Jung Feng immediately smiled. Mom, just go ahead with peace of mind. I was actually admitted to the Southwest Military Academy. Maybe we can see each other often in the cafeteria. Han Mengxin was relieved when she heard the news. This is simply the best arrangement. Next, Jung Feng also told his mother that he would be leaving in 7 days. Okay, then I will help you pack your belongings now. Don't delay anything then. When the person in charge came to talk to me before, I would go there in about a month. Since your kid started school early, you must work hard there, you know. Jung Feng also nodded vigorously to what his mother was preaching to him at this moment. In fact, my mother doesn't need to explain this matter. He knows it very well. Now that he has the system in his hands, he will naturally not waste such a good opportunity in vain. In the blink of an eye, 7 days passed by. Jung Feng, carrying a big school bag, came directly to the school gate early in the morning. Shui Tianyuan hadn't come over yet, so Jung Feng simply waited here alone. Half an hour later, a luxury car drove slowly over in the distance. The car finally stopped in front of the school, and Shui Tianyuan got out of the car. In fact, Jung Feng was not very clear about Shui Jingru's family background, but he had heard of it way. But when he saw the car Shui Tianyuan was riding in, Jung Feng couldn't help but take a breath. Judging from the current situation in the world, families that can afford such luxury cars are definitely among the best in any city. Why do you look so surprised? Didn't my sister tell you in advance? Seeing Jung Feng's surprised look at this moment, Shui Tianyuan couldn't help but complain. Jung Feng shrugged and said nothing. It hasn't taken a while yet. Chen Gang appeared directly in front of the two of them. Before he could speak, he threw an item towards the two of them. The two caught the thrown item and opened it to take a look. It's actually a map. You two boys, put away the map. I've already bought the tickets for you. How to get to school after you get off the bus is up to you to follow the directions on the map. At this moment, Jung Feng and Shui Tianyuan looked at Chen Gang in front of them with some surprise. What's going on? What does it mean to find your own way to school? It's just such a map, How long does it take to find it? Don't look at me like that. This is the school's rule over the years. If you can't find the way to the school according to the map, you can actually give up now. Why is the Southwest Military Academy ranked among the top 10 in the Dragon Kingdom? It will be clear when you look for it according to the map. Chen Gang said a few words in general, and the next moment he disappeared in front of the two people again. Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan looked at each other, with a deep helplessness in their eyes. No, didn't you say that you have bought all the tickets? Where's the ticket? Now it was the two people's turn to freeze on the spot. When they arrived at the station, the two got out of the car and saw a person walking towards them from a distance. Hello, are these Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan? The man smiled and the two asked. After confirming the identities of the two people, the man took out 2 tickets from his pocket and handed them over. You two juniors, you have to work hard. If you encounter any dangerous situation on the road, you can call for help. But you only have one chance to call for help. It's best for you to hold on until someone comes to save you. This guy, who seemed to be their senior, said these words with a smile, but for some reason, they both had hairs on their backs after listening. It seems that following the map to find the way to school is not that safe. I was originally thinking about asking the person in front of me something else. But the man didn't give them any chance. After saying those words, he turned around and left. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared into the sea of people. There was no choice but to take the tickets and enter the station. 3 hours later, Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan came out of the station together. Naturally, two people would not just look for it with a map. What era is this? And play with these things. The two of them took a taxi directly after leaving the station. Master is sending us to Southwest Military Academy. Shui Tianyuan said something directly to the driver after getting in the car. Southwestern Military Academy. After knowing their destination, the taxi driver turned around and glanced at the two of them. Are you two new here? This batch of freshmen from Southwest Military Academy. I'm sorry, I can't take you. Please get out of the car. Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan did not expect such a result. However, Shui Tianyuan soon took out several banknotes from his pocket. Master, help me, send us there. I can pay you the fare directly. Looking at the banknotes delivered to him, they were far more than his income for several days, but the taxi driver still chose to refuse. Since you are freshmen at the Southwest Military Academy, you'd better give up the idea of taking a car there. Don't say it's me. After you get off the bus, no driver will take you there. As for why, you will know it yourself after you find the entrance to the Southwest Military Academy. The two people were stunned and had no choice but to get out of the car. Why are there people who don't even want to make money now? Shui Tianyuan said helplessly. There was no other way, so the two had no choice but to open the map Chen Gang had just given them. The red dot on the map is naturally their current location, and their destination, Southwest Military Academy, is only marked with a blue star. Although looking at the map, the two locations are not very far apart. But judging from the zoom ratio of the map, if you really want to walk there, it will probably take several days. Not to mention the two of them, in fact, they don't even know the specific route now. I just know roughly where my endpoint is. There's no way to leave. Zheng Feng said helplessly. Fortunately, the two of them didn't carry much luggage with them. Although you have to walk through it, it was relatively easy at the beginning. Following the route on the map, the two people planned the shortest one. Southwest Military Academy. Although summer vacation has come, the students in the school have not left the campus. Especially those students who are about to graduate. He was even more busy wandering around the campus. In a small classroom, there were about a dozen students gathering together. In front of them was a huge electronic screen. If Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan were here now, it would be obvious that what is displayed on the screen in front of these students at this moment is the map in their hands. But unlike the map in their hands, there were 7 red dots flashing on the electronic screen in front of them. I didn't expect that there would be 7 newcomers in our class this time. Although there are 7, I don't know how many will survive in the end. Do you want to make a bet? I bet that only one person will be left in the end. 1. I feel like 1 is too much. How about we change the bet? Look at these 7 people. How many will die on the road? Okay, I bet all 7 people will die. While everyone was chattering about the bet, in the corner of the classroom, a man who had been sleeping on the table slowly raised his head. Haven't you heard? This time there is a scary one among the new students in our school who has high points. It seems that there is a huge gap directly away from the second place. Isn't it? Is there really such a monster? It seems like something unexpected will happen to us during their enrollment journey this time. No, I have to go there in person. You're cheating. As they talked, the classroom started arguing again. Ahem. While everyone was arguing, Chen Gang walked in from outside the classroom. You all stop arguing, this time all of you are out in force. There are no restrictions. You can take action as long as these 7 people are not killed instantly. At least let them last until the rescuers arrive. Are you clear? After hearing what Chen Gang said at this moment, a group of people suddenly became excited. In fact, they are all those who are selected to take the Southwest Military Academy entrance exam in advance every year. They naturally know that this time of year is the most exciting time for this class. In previous years, at most, only 5 people were dispatched. But this year we did let a dozen of them set off together. Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan were also moving forward according to the map given by Chen Gang before. I have always been traveling through the city before. After coming out of the city, the 2 people walked into a forest. The moment they entered the forest, the 2 people stopped instinctively. Can you feel it? There is actually the aura of a second-level ferocious beast here. No wonder the taxi driver didn't dare to come in just now. It seems that the Southwest Military Academy has prepared some good things for us. Are you sure? Just go to the back and don't be too perverted. I'll kill all the beasts below the 4th level. Zheng Feng said with a smile. Shui Tianyuan naturally took a deep look at Zheng Feng. It seems that only about a month has passed since the last martial arts test. It seems that Zheng Feng's strength has made new progress during this period of time. Otherwise he would not dare to say such words. Okay, then I'll leave it all to you. I'm going to goof off for a while. Hearing what Shui Tianyuan said at this moment, Zheng Feng naturally looked at him dissatisfied. But Zheng Feng actually knew it in his heart. Even if Shui Tianyuan said this, he would still take action if he really encountered someone powerful. The 2 people stopped at the entrance of the forest without continuing. Taking their own gear with them, the 2 of them continued to move forward in the direction on the map again. Before they had gone far, the 2 people stopped again. Shui Tianyuan even directly activated his ability to assimilate. His whole body fell directly into the ground. 30 meters, left. Soon, Shui Tianyuan appeared next to Zheng Feng again. Of course, he also brought some news. After Zheng Feng learned the specific information, he directly pulled out the alloy sword from behind the strap. Blade storm. More than a dozen rays of sword energy quickly poured towards the location pointed by Shui Tianyuan just now. Looking at the sword energy flying in front of him at this moment, Shui Tianyuan also took a deep breath. This guy has really improved his strength a lot. Judging from the situation during the martial arts test at that time, if Zheng Feng could swing the sword so easily, he should only be able to swing 8 or 9 sword energy at one time. The extra sword energy at this moment naturally means that Zheng Feng has made good growth. It seems that this kid has not been slacking off for more than a month. Fortunately, I didn't have one either, otherwise I might have been directly surpassed by this kid. After waving his sword energy, Zheng Feng put away his alloy sword and walked towards the place where he had just bombarded. A late 2nd level ferocious beast had been completely cut off by the flying sword energy. This is the first one we've encountered. Zheng Feng turned to Shui Tianyuan and asked. The 6th one. None of the 5 in front of us have any intention of getting close to us. Only this guy is not afraid of death. Just in time, it's almost time. Let's rest here today. Faced with Zheng Feng's proposal at this moment, Shui Tianyuan naturally nodded and agreed. The 2 men opened the luggage they carried with them and took out a tent from inside. Soon they had set up a place to stay for the night. And the 2nd level ferocious beast that they killed directly became food for the 2 of them. Night gradually fell. Zheng Feng had already grilled the ferocious beast that he had killed today, so he naturally called Shui Tianyuan to sit aside. The 2 of them ate barbecue and talked about some things. Of course, because of what they encountered now, the two of them did not completely relax when they were resting. Not far from their location, two figures slowly approached this side. The two people who were approaching both had something similar to a mobile phone in their hands. The content displayed on it at this moment is the map on the electronic screen in the previous classroom. These two guys are the farthest from the school among the 7, and they are probably the two worst. They can give us some practice. Yes, when we entered school last year, we were almost beaten to death by those guys. No matter what happens this year, I have to play again. The two of them communicated in low voices as they continued to approach Zheng Feng. The two people who had finished the barbecue did not go directly to rest, but still sat outside the tent. Suddenly, Shui Tianyuan frowned. What's wrong? Someone is approaching. Just after Shui Tianyuan finished speaking, Zheng Feng also felt two auras. When it comes to detecting enemy traces, Shui Tianyuan is better. After Shui Tianyuan finished speaking, he closed his eyes directly. Zheng Feng only saw Shui Tianyuan beside him gradually becoming transparent. He seemed to be assimilating himself with the surrounding air. Zheng Feng also envied this ability. The strength of these two people is not much different from ours. The other party doesn't seem to have much malice, but their direction is towards us. Because they came to see us. Shui Tianyuan's body became solid again and he roughly explained the detected news. Zheng Feng nodded slightly. Although he didn't know what the two guys were coming towards him for, he was prepared in advance. After eating the sparkling fruit before, he hadn't really used those abilities yet. Compared with the vitality bullets he obtained at the beginning, Zheng Feng is more inclined to use the abilities brought by sparkling fruit in combat. The damage of the vitality bomb is too great, and it is too obvious when attacking. Coming, the two of them looked towards the woods in front of them almost at the same time. The two people who were on their way before were now hiding behind a big tree. No, why do these two guys look so like they discovered us? After all, he is a guy who can enter the Southwest Military Academy in advance. His perception is really scary. Don't worry so much. Now that you've been discovered, let's just take action. One of them squatted down directly at this moment. Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan, who were sitting there, immediately felt something coming from the ground. In an instant, the two stood up suddenly. Right where they sat down, two spikes rushed out. If they had moved slower, they would not have been killed directly, but they would have been seriously injured and would not have been able to escape. What are these two guys doing? Attacking us without saying a word. Shui Tianyuan snorted coldly. On the contrary, Zheng Feng was indeed slightly excited at this moment. More than a dozen sword energy was swung out in an instant, slashing directly at the two people hiding behind the tree. But surprisingly, all the sword energy flew past and disappeared halfway. No trace left at all. Is there someone on the other side who has the ability to assimilate? After Zheng Feng saw that all the sword energy he had swung had disappeared, he naturally looked at Shui Tianyuan immediately. He suspected that among the other two, there were people with the same ability as Shui Tianyuan from time to time. Shui Tianyuan saw the way Zheng Feng looked at him and immediately shook his head. The assimilation ability can only assimilate itself and the things around it, but it cannot assimilate any attacks. The other party is not an assimilation ability holder. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been discovered as soon as I got close to here. Are you okay? The guy squatting on the ground raised his head and glanced at his companion beside him. There was a crack on the man's cheek, and a stream of blood was slowly seeping out of it. It's okay, these two guys are not weak. It seemed like a simple attack, but it actually hurt me. We have to hurry up and capture them. Others may have noticed our actions. The guy squatting on the ground nodded sharply, and the next thing he knew, he closed his eyes. Retreat. Here, Shui Tianyuan immediately reminded Zheng Feng. The two of them immediately took several steps back. Just where they were standing, two cracks instantly appeared on the ground. Then, two humanoid creatures made entirely of rocks crawled out. After these two creatures came out, they naturally attacked Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan immediately. It actually has an attack power close to that of a mid-level third-level ferocious beast. After Shui Tianyuan resisted an attack, he immediately frowned. It seemed that the strength of the two people who came here this time was still somewhat different from his estimated strength. At least, as far as the current Shui Tianyuan is concerned, it is still a little difficult for one person to deal with a mid-level third-order ferocious beast alone. But because of his own ability in assimilation, it is not so easy for the other party to hurt him. In just an instant, Shui Tianyuan's body gradually merged with this stone creature. As for Zheng Feng, he naturally swung out countless sword energy, but the physical defense of the stone man with the strength of a third-level ferocious beast was naturally not that bad. Even though countless sword energies hit his body, they didn't leave too deep marks. Zheng Feng narrowed his eyes slightly. Since sword energy is useless, then don't use it. Seeing the stone man coming to him at this moment, he raised his hand and punched out. I go. Can this guy's physical strength be so terrifying? Isn't this guy a monster? The two people hiding behind the tree naturally saw the scene in front of them. The stone man actually took several steps back after being punched by Zheng Feng. You know, more than a dozen people in their class also fight one-on-one in private on weekdays. Only 3 people can do this. Their abilities are all related to amplifying their own bodies. Without exception, they are all ability users with S-level talents. But the guy in front of me can also do this. Is it another S-level talent that strengthens the physical ability? Just when the two of them were a little stunned, Zheng Feng took action again. His entire body turned into a stream of light. He arrived in front of the stone man very quickly and transformed into a human form again. Lifting his leg, he had the look of kicking the stone man. Crack! The stone man immediately made a series of crunching sounds, and the next time, he completely lost the ability to move. It turned into pieces of gravel again. No, isn't this guy's ability to strengthen his body? How come he was able to turn into light just now? The power of that kick is too terrifying, isn't it? Not only did it directly break through the defense of a third-level ferocious beast, but it even directly hit my stone man into pieces. Could it be that the two of us are so unlucky that we meet not the weakest among the 7 guys, but the strongest one? While the two were talking in surprise, Zheng Feng also took action and killed the other stone man. You two, what are you hiding behind? Why don't you come out and talk together? On the big tree where the two were hiding, Shui Tianyuan's head slowly stretched out. It's still his signature smile. The moment the two of them saw Shui Tianyuan, they immediately turned around and looked at him. You two attacked us for no reason, and now you want to walk away. Isn't it a bit too much? A stream of light lit up in front of them. Next, Zheng Feng also directly blocked the two people's retreat. Behind everyone are classmates. Everyone has something to say. One of them suddenly smiled and said something. But Zheng Feng didn't want to talk at all, so he slowly raised his arm. He made a shooting gesture with his hand. The next second, a yellow light condensed on his fingertips. Are you going to cooperate on your own, or do you want me to force you? The expressions of the two of them changed slightly at this moment. But they are still not prepared to stay. If they are really left, this matter will probably make other people laugh for a year. They couldn't imagine the days that followed. I told you not to move. Zheng Feng discovered the intention of the two people and didn't waste any words. The light from his fingertips shot out directly. Just like the previous sword energy, the light dissipated directly while flying in midair. But one of the two people spurted out a mouthful of blood. Oh, that's interesting. Zheng Feng narrowed his eyes slightly. Behind him, countless lights began to condense. 8-foot beautiful Magatama. Countless rays of light shot towards the two people in front of them instantly. Boom boom boom. There were constant roars, and with them, there was a layer of thick smoke. When the smoke dissipated, the two people were lying on the ground, their faces pale, and they were breathing heavily. In front of them was a crumbling stone wall. Most of the attacks just now seemed to have been blocked by this stone wall. Would you like to come again? Zheng Feng leaned forward and said to the two people in front of him with a smile. The two men didn't even have the strength to raise their hands at this moment. Seeing the smile on Zheng Feng's face at this moment, the two of them felt scared for some reason. One of them was worried that Zheng Feng would continue to take action next, so he took out the mobile phone he had held in his pocket and pressed the button on it. Next, 5 people appeared out of thin air. Stop. The 5 people who appeared, without exception, were all wearing the costumes of the Southwest Military Region. Seeing that they were from the military, Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan also gave up the idea of taking action. The 5 people who appeared were also stunned when they looked at both sides of the field. What happened? Old students were beaten by freshmen and called for reinforcements. This is something unprecedented. But no matter what, they had duties, and 2 of them stepped forward to help the 2 old students on the ground. Can you tell me what your talent is? When one of them was helped up by the rescuers, he also asked Zheng Feng with a puzzled look. Zheng Feng didn't hide it either. I am an E-level talent. E-level talent. Everyone except Shui Tianyuan was stunned. Why are you looking at me like this? If you don't believe me, go check it out yourself. Seeing the looks in other people's eyes, Zheng Feng also shrugged helplessly. Naturally, the 5 rescuers didn't say anything and left the area with the 2 injured old students. The remaining old students all received the news at the same time. What? 13 and 14 were kicked down. Didn't these 2 guys say before that they were going to target the weakest freshmen? This year's orientation event was interesting. It was the first time that an old student was beaten by a new student. Where did 13 and 14 get laid down? I'm going to give it a try. A group of old students were also chatting in an exclusive group at this moment. Completely ignoring what they said 13 and 14 would think after seeing them. At this moment, Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan also returned to the place where they originally planned to camp. Unfortunately, the tent they had set up before was directly destroyed due to the impact of the battle just now. If I had known those 2 guys would have paid compensation before they left. Zheng Feng gritted his teeth and said with some dissatisfaction. On the contrary, Shui Tianyuan still had a smile on his face. Forget it, everyone is gone. Besides, using the sky as a quilt and the earth as a bed may not be an interesting thing. I really don't understand what you rich people think. Chapter 31. Southwest Military Academy, in a certain teaching and research office. What was playing on the screen in front of him was the battle that Zheng Feng had just fought. Is this little guy's talent really E-level? One of the old men touched the goatee on his chin and said with some surprise. According to his previous high school records, this is indeed the case. Is it possible that there was an error in the original talent test? Probably not. No one who tested this little guy before and after made any mistakes. Could it be the awakening of abilities? Even if the ability is awakened, even if the E-level talent is reawakened, how powerful can it be? There is definitely some kind of secret in this little guy. After watching the video in front of them, a group of people started arguing. That's all. No matter what the situation is with this little guy, what we have to do now is to think about how to arrange their teaching plan next. Among the 7 freshmen in this batch, he should be the strongest, and there is a big gap in strength between him and the remaining 6. What a great talent. If the education method is still the same as before, I feel like it will be a waste of resources. Zheng Gang coughed and expressed his thoughts. Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan just lay down on the ground, and Shui Tianyuan sat up directly. Here we go again. Zheng Feng sat up. Soon, he felt it too. 1, 2, 3. No, 7, a whole 7 breaths are approaching here. There are 2 auras among them, which are extremely powerful and have no cover at all. Even the other 5 paths were not covered up much, but the oppressed ones seemed to have dissipated. These 7 people did not hide and attack secretly like the 2 before. Instead, he appeared directly in front of the 2 of them. You were the ones who brought 13 and 14 down. One of the big guys said something indifferently. The aura exuded by this guy is the strongest and most domineering among this group of guys. Did you do it together, or who did it? Come, let me learn from you. As he spoke, the man tore his shirt to pieces, revealing his strong body. Shui Tianyuan frowned slightly. Zheng Feng took a step forward. The equipment in the school training room was actually unable to withstand his full attack. But the man who appeared at this moment made him feel endless fighting spirit. I did it. You also want to be beaten down by me? Zheng Feng responded unceremoniously. This kid is really not afraid of death. Third brother looks like he's ready to go all out. You guys, be prepared. If third brother really gets the upper hand, it might be too late to stop. I really hope this kid can withstand a few punches from the third brother. Will he be knocked down with just 1 punch? 14 can survive 2 rounds in the hands of third brother. I guess this guy can survive 1 or 2 more punches, right? Here, the man who was called the third brother glanced at Zheng Feng up and down. Boy, you are very courageous, I admire you very much. But sometimes courage is not enough, you have to use your true strength to speak. As he spoke, the muscles on this guy's body seemed to be dyed. Gradually deepens the color from the original bronze color. Eventually it became pure black. There's even a touch of metallic luster on it. Come on, let me see if you really have the ability to tell lies. A punch, with a sonic boom sound, hit Zheng Feng directly. Feeling the power of the opponent's punch, even Zheng Feng, who was extremely confident before, frowned slightly at this moment. The power of this punch may be able to directly kill a late-level 5th-level ferocious beast. Even though Zheng Feng knew that his strength was not weak, he did not dare to resist forcefully. He had no choice but to directly enter the elemental state. The man's punch landed directly on Kong Chu. It's interesting, but just avoiding it is not enough. Accompanied by a cold snort, Zheng Feng, who entered elementalization, felt that his body was stagnant. Even if it has entered the elemental state, there is an illusion. A feeling that if he got punched, he would definitely die. No, no, no. There is a voice in my heart that keeps shouting. You must not be unable to withstand the second punch here. With an angry shout, Zheng Feng also forcibly broke through the solemn feeling just now, and his elementalized body became light again. At this moment, he rose directly into the air. Elementalization removed. 8-foot beautiful Magatama. Countless rays of light gathered behind him. Like a peacock spreading its tail. Like a heavy rain coming, countless lights condensed behind Zheng Feng suddenly fell towards the man on the ground. Interesting, but it's not enough. Just one punch, this is the third punch. With this punch, the man swung it directly into the air. The falling rays of light instantly exploded in midair. The sweeping air flow directly made Zheng Feng, who was falling from midair, unable to control the trajectory of his body's descent. Zheng Feng, whose body was out of control at the moment, also frowned and snorted coldly. But soon, his eyes looked towards the man again. This guy's strength is obviously stronger than what I felt when I first saw him. The man known as Third Brother still had his eyes firmly fixed on Zheng Feng at this moment. Feeling the distance between them gradually shrinking, he clenched his fists again, preparing to punch again. 13 and 14 were beaten down by the freshman. No matter what happened, he had to get back on his feet. This new student will definitely be beaten down today. Otherwise, where would they put the face of these old students? Feeling that the opponent's chi was locked on him again at this moment, Zheng Feng was not prepared to make any concealment. He slowly raised his hands, gradually over the top of the head. Who had witnessed this scene, activated his ability in an instant. Assimilated directly into the ground beneath his feet, the distance instantly widened. Hey, here's another new student who has the ability to assimilate. It looks like we're going to have some fun after school starts this year. The remaining 6 people naturally noticed Shui Tianyuan's actions at this moment, but they were not curious at all. Even at this moment, Shui Tianyuan's aura is already somewhat far away from here. Their primary target is actually Zheng Feng, who appears in front of them at this moment. Something's wrong. What is that thing in this kid's hand? Why is a violent aura condensing inside? Retreat, evacuate from here quickly, you may not be able to withstand this kid's attack. Lao San, who was accumulating energy, also felt the energy in Zheng Feng's hands at this moment. He also turned around suddenly and shouted to the people behind him. Now that the third child spoke, the 6 people behind him basically evacuated into the distance instantly. At this moment, the vitality bullets condensed on Zheng Feng's fists were completely condensed, and they were smashed directly towards Lao San. Boom! The third child didn't dodge at all and caught the energy bomb forcefully. Let me go. With this power, I'm afraid it can easily annihilate a 4th-level ferocious beast, right? Yes, it's a good thing that 3 people warned us, otherwise even if a few of us were still alive, we would probably be seriously injured. Third brother resisted forcefully, but I don't know if anything will happen. Nonsense. Third brother will definitely be fine. If third brother falls in the hands of this new student and word spreads, where will the faces of us guys be placed? The 6 people who had retreated a lot were looking at the vitality bomb that had swallowed up the third brother. Although they said they believed it, there was still some worry in their eyes. The last bit of energy from the vitality bomb dissipated. Zhang Feng also fell to the ground again at this moment and began to breathe heavily. Today's battle can be said to be the most difficult one since he took possession of the system. His eyes were also looking towards the position where the vitality pill had just fallen. The dust has settled. The third child still stood firmly in place. However, the originally metallized body now has many cracks. Traces of blood are constantly seeping out from these cracks. But despite this, he still maintained a clear consciousness. His gaze was naturally directed towards Zhang Feng at this moment. Grinning, I never thought we would have our own little monster. It's a pity that your strength is still not enough. If it takes a few years, maybe I won't be your opponent. But now, hey, I'm going to feel embarrassed. Zhang Feng naturally widened his eyes. The energy bomb blasted out with all its strength didn't do much harm to this guy. Even though he was only physically hurt, it was only physical. The third child waved his fist again. This time, he used all his strength. In an instant, Zhang Feng felt that everything in the world in front of him had disappeared. Only one huge fist remained. The surrounding air even disappeared. At this moment, the only thing left in the world in front of him was the fist crushing him. Boom! A violent explosion sounded suddenly. Zhang Feng was still standing straight on the spot, breathing heavily. That fist did not land directly on him. Chen Gang didn't know when he appeared in front of the two of them. That punch was received lightly by Chen Gang, although it still made a roar. But no harm occurred at all. None of the top 10 of you are allowed to participate in this freshman trial. All the guys in the top 10, go back to school. If anyone is not convinced, you can come to me for a one-on-one fight or a group fight. After Chen Gang said these words, the third child, who was still a little unconvinced, immediately shut his mouth at this moment. They knew very well how terrifying Chen Gang was. There was almost no need for Chen Gang to speak again, and the third child nodded directly in agreement. The remaining guys also took a step back when Chen Gang glanced towards them. Even if they were somewhat reluctant, they did not dare to disobey Chen Gang's order. Okay, in that case, all the guys in the top 10 should go back. The rest of the guys can stay. Chen Gang dropped these words and disappeared directly. It seemed that he should have informed others. The third child's eyes fell on Zhang Feng again. Little guy, I'm looking forward to the day you go to school. Our fight is not over yet. We can continue after you enroll in school. All the metallization of the skin on the third child faded away, revealing some hideous wounds. At this moment, he also smiled and said something to Zhang Feng. Without even waiting for Zhang Feng to reply, he jumped up high on the spot and disappeared into the dark night. Most of the remaining guys are in the top 10. Seeing that the third child was gone, it was natural for them not to stay here any longer. There's only one guy left standing here. He should be the one at the bottom of the rankings. The man smiled slightly at Zhang Feng here and did not make any preparations for fighting. The next one also directly followed the pace of the person in front. Shui Tianyuan, who was originally assimilated to the ground, is now gradually emerging from the ground. Okay, Zhang Feng, I'm worried to death. Fortunately, you're okay. Zhang Feng also smiled helplessly at this. At the same time, in the classroom, the man with murderous intent glanced this way. Interesting. Then let me come and meet you. After saying that, he lay directly on the table, and soon he began to snore. In the forest, all the visiting guys evacuated from here. Zhang Feng and Shui Tianyuan also breathed a sigh of relief. Especially Zhang Feng. After forcibly receiving a few punches from Lao San, the blood and energy in his body were constantly surging, making him extremely uncomfortable. Fortunately, Shui Tianyuan is nearby now. Although his combat effectiveness is not as good as Zhang Feng's, Shui Tianyuan is still slightly better than Zhang Feng in terms of vigilance. No one is coming towards us yet. Do you want to take a rest first? I'll call you at 3 or 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. Because someone had attacked them earlier, the two people who were planning to sleep together were also preparing to make a vigil plan for the night before and after. Zhang Feng readily accepted Shui Tianyuan's proposal. After a while, Zhang Feng, who was already physically injured, fell asleep. Where is this? Zhang Feng looked around in confusion. The surroundings were completely shrouded in white mist, and you could see your own 5 fingers if you stretched out your hand. Suddenly, like a gust of wind came. The white mist in front of him was blown away, revealing a figure. Who are you? Looking at the guy appearing in front of him at this moment, Zhang Feng suddenly became wary. This guy looks a little older than me. Shui Tianyuan, where are you? If someone approaches him, Shui Tianyuan should remind him in advance. However, Shui Tianyuan did not appear after Zhang Feng called. Not even a response at all. Strange, really strange. No need to look for it, it's just you and me here. The guy who walked out of the white mist smiled and said something to Zhang Feng. I heard that you are very strong. I just want to try it out to see how strong you are. The man followed up. Zhang Feng frowned slightly. He had a fight with the so-called third brother before, and he has not fully recovered yet. Someone came to the door again. But according to what Chen Gang said before, this guy shouldn't be ranked in the top 10. Then, their strength should be similar to the two people who were defeated by him in the first place. Don't think about it, I am number one among all the guys. Chen Gang's words are of no use to me, and he may not find out that I'm here to find you now. The man spoke lazily. Suddenly, he raised his hand. The moment Zhang Feng was on guard, his hand suddenly dropped. How about it? You should be in your prime now, right? The man followed up, and Zhang Feng also clearly felt that his current body had indeed undergone considerable changes. The energy and blood that had been tumbling inside the body had completely subsided at this moment. Even the slightest hint of fatigue was gone. At this moment, he was at his peak. What kind of ability is this? Zhang Feng muttered. But the person in front of him didn't give him any time to think about it. You can't guess it. Come on, let's do it. Let me see what your strength is like. The man still looked lazy, and even seemed a little impatient with waiting, and even yawned widely. Do it. If you don't take action, I will. Zhang Feng naturally took action directly, and more than a dozen sword energy rushed out. There are a lot of them, but they are still a little weak. Before the dozens of sword energy could reach the man, they were easily dispersed by the man with a wave of his hand. At the moment when Zhang Feng was surprised, the man imitated the action just now, raised his hand and waved lightly. 99 and 81 sword energy shot out quickly. Zhang Feng's eyes widened immediately. How did the guy in front of me learn this trick? However, he won't have much time to consider the opponent's attack. Zhang Feng's body instantly transformed into elements, and he was able to avoid those sword energies. Oh, what kind of ability is this? The man seemed to be very curious about the elemental state that Zhang Feng entered. His body also showed irregular changes afterwards, seeming to be imitating Zhang Feng's current state. But no matter what, he seems unable to achieve complete elementalization. Vaguely, there is just a hint of similarity. It's interesting. This is my first time encountering this kind of situation. Continue. As if he was surprised by Zhang Feng's ability at this moment, the man smiled slightly, and then waved directly to Zhang Feng. It seemed that he was letting Zhang Feng continue to attack him. And it was because of what he just said. It also allowed Zhang Feng to see clearly that his ability should be of the imitation type. Now that you know the other party's abilities, it will be easier to handle. Some things cannot be imitated casually. In just an instant, the elemental state was lifted. Zhang Feng's hands were already raised above his head, and he was ready to directly use the vitality bomb to solve the situation at hand. Oh, this trick works, I like it. Seeing Zhang Feng's actions, the man imitated him and raised his hands. Countless rays of light condensed in Zhang Feng's palm. Although there was no light condensing in the man's palm, the white mist around him continued to pour in. Their respective spheres soon appeared in their hands. In Zhang Feng's hand, a huge vitality bomb shone with extremely dazzling white light. In the man's hand, a huge thing that was completely composed of white mist and resembled a vitality bomb also appeared. Go, Zhang Feng whispered, and directly threw the vitality bullet in his hand towards the person in front of him. The other party naturally did the exact same action. It's a pity that although the spherical object condensed in his hand resembles the vitality bomb in Zhang Feng's hand, it still only looks similar. After touching the real energy bomb, the ball thrown from his hand was instantly destroyed. Wow, looking at the vitality bomb that was gradually approaching him, this guy was just like the third child before, without even the slightest dodge. Let the vitality bullet engulf it directly. The energy bomb gradually dissipated, and Zhang Feng's eyes were fixed on where the man was standing. At this moment, the man had completely disappeared. Just when Zheng Feng thought that the opponent had been completely destroyed by his own energy bomb, the white mist around him moved. Countless white mist converged towards one place. In just an instant, the original man appeared in front of Zheng Feng without any damage. The man who appeared this time kept applauding. Awesome. You are the strongest newcomer I have ever met. Okay, my assessment is over here. You are welcome to join our Southwest Military Academy. After saying that, the man disappeared. Zheng Feng's consciousness also gradually dissipated with the disappearance of the man. Hu ho ho. Zheng Feng sat up suddenly, breathing heavily. What's wrong? When Shui Tianyuan next to him saw Zheng Feng's appearance at this moment, he immediately asked. Zheng Feng looked around and found that the place where he was at the moment was still the place where he rested before. All the white mist and other things had disappeared. Strangeness, he muttered, was he just dreaming? Seeing that Zheng Feng didn't answer him at the moment, Shui Tianyuan speculated that he might have had some kind of nightmare, so he didn't ask any more questions. Looking at the time, it's almost time to change shifts. After talking to Zheng Feng, Shui Tianyuan also lay down and started to rest. Zheng Feng stood up and swayed around, but at this moment he was still thinking about the situation he encountered before. If it was a dream, how could he remember it so clearly after waking up? Inside the classroom, the man who was sleeping on the table also sat up and stretched. In front of him, Chen Gang didn't know when he had arrived. Didn't I tell you, the top 10 guys, not to continue attacking those 2 little guys? You guys, if you don't pay attention, you will attack with all your strength, and 2 good seedlings can easily be destroyed in your hands. Chen Gang's tone was a little unhappy. The man sitting in front of him smiled. I'm different from them. Even if I do take action, I can guarantee that he will be fine. Speaking of which, is that boy the one who ranks first in the martial arts exam right now? Chen Gang did not deny it and nodded. I see. No wonder that boy is very strong. If it weren't for my ability, I would have been injured. The third child was beaten like that. To be honest, I'm not surprised at all now. Okay, stop staring at me here. I'm quitting their trial this time. After hearing the man say this lazily, Chen Gang stood up. In a blink of an eye, it was already bright. Shui Tianyuan also started yawning when Zheng Feng was about to call him. Let's go, it's time for us to continue on our way. The 2 packed up and began to follow the instructions on the map to find the entrance to the Southwest Military Academy. It seems to be because of Chen Gang's warning last night. Along the way, neither of them met anyone else who attacked them. On the contrary, he encountered many ferocious beasts. But they are generally 1 or 2 levels, and there is no danger at all for them. 3 days later, the 2 men finally saw an iron gate. It was covered with various lines, and most of them seemed to be traces left by the blood of ferocious beasts that had been stained on it and dried up after a long time. Just after taking a look, the 2 of them immediately felt a sense of oppression. Inside the gate, Chen Gang was already standing inside. Welcome you both. Come in, from now on, you will be a member of the Southwest Military Academy. Following Chen Gang's speech, the iron door slowly opened, and the 2 of them naturally walked in quickly. Let's go, I'll take you to the dormitory now. After saying that, Chen Gang began to lead the way. The 2 of them naturally followed Chen Gang and had a clear view of the entire Southwest Military Academy. 4 buildings of more than 30 stories stand behind the college. In front of it, there are a dozen relatively low buildings, but they generally have more than 10 floors. Among them, not many people were seen on the last 4 buildings, but at the front of the buildings, just by taking a casual look, you could see a lot of students running on them. In the square of the college, there were about 100 students at the moment. A few of them gathered together, seemingly talking about something. From time to time, these students would look towards Zheng Feng and the others. Without exception, when these students' eyes fell on Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan, they could clearly see traces of envy in their eyes. Following Chen Gang, the 2 of them walked forward for who knows how long, passing through tall buildings, and finally stopped in front of a building that was only 7 stories high. This is your next dormitory. Chen Gang pointed to the house in front of him and said to the 2 of them. As for where to live, it's up to you 2 to choose. Someone will take you to familiarize yourself with the school later. After saying that, Chen Gang left first. Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan looked at each other, and then they carried their backpacks and walked into the dormitory building in front of them. Compared to the outside, there seemed to be not many people in this dormitory building. The two walked around on the first floor. There were only 8 rooms in total, but they were all already occupied. I had no choice but to go to the second floor. At the end of the corridor, I finally saw an empty room. The dormitory here is obviously shared by 2 people, and they happen to be 2 people. After putting the luggage they brought in the room, the 2 of them sat on the bed, not knowing what to do for a while. I didn't expect it to be like this in Southwest Military Academy. Shui Tianyuan stood up and could see the square in the distance from the window. Zheng Feng did not get up, but lay directly on the bed. Now that I have arrived at the Southwest Military Academy, I have to think about how to make money. After all, although his mother was arranged by Chen Gang to enter the school cafeteria here, she could only barely maintain food and clothing. He didn't want his mother to worry about money. Just as 22 was lying on the bed, preparing to plan what to do next, there was a knock on the door of the room. When they opened the door, they saw the 2 men who attacked them that night. They seemed to be called 13 and 14. The 2 people who knocked on the door naturally glanced at the 2 people inside the room with some embarrassment. Well, let's introduce ourselves. We entered school 1 year earlier than you. My name is Zhao Pei, and his name is Zheng Xin. When we attacked you before, we were actually just following the school's rules. Every year when new students enter the school, former students are required to test their strength. The boy named Zhao Pei said something very embarrassed. Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan actually didn't have much resentment towards their previous attacks on them. After all, the 2 of them suffered a lot at their own hands, and were even taken away by rescuers in the end. Have you 2 put your things away? Once you have put them away, we will take you out to take a look. Zheng Xin also asked the 2 of them. Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan looked at each other and naturally nodded together. After all, when they first entered, they still needed to get familiar with the school. Following the 2 of them, Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan walked out of the dormitory building together. As soon as he walked out, Shui Tianyuan curiously asked the 2 people in front of him. 2 seniors, may I ask why those people called you 13 and 14 before? Shui Tianyuan was actually very curious about this title. Oh, it's like this. You are just like us. Although you are all freshmen at Southwest Military Academy, you are still different from those ordinary freshmen. We don't actually need to take as many courses as other freshmen every year. We have our own dedicated teachers. As for why we are called 13 and 14, it is mainly based on the strength ranking after the test. The 2 people who said this suddenly became helpless. Based on the strength of the 2 of you, if you take part in the test, it is estimated that our titles of 13 and 14 will not be preserved, and we will even fall back a few points. After saying that, Zheng Xin also sighed deeply helplessly. Shui Tianyuan and Zheng Feng looked at each other, and they did not expect this to be the case. At first, the 2 thought it was decided based on the order of admission. Okay, you 2 don't have to bear too much burden. This is indeed the case for us in this class. Every year a monster appears, and the ones ahead of us are not always in the order determined by time. As long as you can pass the test well, then there won't be much of a problem. Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan were also somewhat interested in this test. This is our canteen. It's very close to our dormitory. The meal times are fixed every day. When you go in, you can see the time is written on the wall. This is our teaching building. Although our class process is different from that of the freshmen, we still take classes here together. This is a training ground. After you take the test and get your serial number, you can live in it. As for now, you have no way to enter it yet. After a tour, the 2 of them basically understood the various locations in the Southwest Military Academy. Okay, we've finished showing you around. Do you have any questions? Zheng Xin asked the 2 people behind him. Shui Tianyuan shook his head, but Zheng Feng asked the 2 people in front of him. Is there any place to make money in our school? Zheng Feng's question immediately stunned everyone present. Zheng Feng, are you short of money? Shui Tianyuan next to him asked. After looking at Shui Tianyuan, Zheng Feng nodded decisively. How much do you want? I can lend it to you right now. Shui Tianyuan said generously. But what was waiting for him was Zhang Feng shaking his head slightly. I didn't want to borrow money at first. Otherwise, I would have asked you to borrow it. I ask this because I actually want to make money, and the borrowed money is not my own after all. When Zhang Feng said these words, his eyes were extremely firm. 22 Naturally, it would be difficult to say anything more about this, so he would look at Zhang Xin and the two of them. The two looked at each other. Of course there are ways to make money, but you still have to wait until you pass the trial. When you pass the trial and actually enroll, the corresponding bounty mission will appear on the school's forum. If you complete the bounty tasks, you can get the corresponding salary. This is also the fastest way for us to make money. Zhang Feng silently remembered this incident. After there was nothing else to do, Zhang Xin and Zhang Feng returned to the dormitory together. That's our dormitory over there. If you still don't understand anything, you can go directly to us. We know everything and will tell you everything as soon as possible. Zhang Feng and Shui Tianyuan naturally nodded, and then separated from the two of them. Returning to their dormitory again, the two of them were lying on the bed, and they both fell asleep together. While half asleep, Zhang Feng was shouted out. It's over, you two guys are going to be late. I thought you were up early, why did you sleep until now? Zhang Xin's anxious voice came to his ears. Teacher Chen has been urging me over there for a long time, but I haven't seen you two guys yet. Get up quickly, if it's a little later, Teacher Chen will probably come to call you in person. Zhang Feng sat up from the bed and rubbed his eyes. It was pitch dark outside, and it seemed to be evening. You two, hurry up and go over to the classroom. I left a note on the table for you with the specific location. You're coming over soon. Don't fall asleep again. After saying that, Zhang Xin ran out of the classroom. Zhang Feng and Shui Tianyuan, who were sitting on the bed, finally woke up completely. They would have got off the bed immediately. Put on your coat and pick up the note on the table. Following the address above, the two came outside a classroom. In the classroom, someone was talking at the moment. Listening to the voice, it seemed to be Chen Gang. Zhang Feng took a deep breath, stepped forward and knocked on the door. Come in. With the sounds in the classroom, Zhang Feng opened the door and walked in. There was silence in the classroom at the moment. Countless eyes fell on him and Shui Tianyuan. How dare you two guys be late on the first day of school? Go to the back and stand. Chen Gang stood on the podium, staring at the two people who came in with anger on his face. Zhang Feng and Shui Tianyuan naturally walked towards the back of the classroom helplessly. There are about 20 people in this class, and they know Zhang Xin and the other two among them. As for the rest of the people, they have basically never seen them. The two people standing at the back of the classroom naturally noticed a person sitting in the last row of the classroom. He was lying on the table and seemed to be asleep. Chen Gang continued his previous speech. You have a total of 5 newcomers joining this class this time. You old students must take more care of them in the days to come. Some of the rules that need to be followed in school must also be explained clearly to them. I don't want a situation like tonight to happen again. In addition, the trial for your new students will start at noon tomorrow. Everyone should prepare for me tonight and don't embarrass yourself there early tomorrow morning. Is that clear? After Chen Gang roughly stated the time and address of the freshman trial that would start tomorrow, he announced the disbandment. Zhang Feng and Shui Tianyuan immediately breathed a sigh of relief. It's great that Chen Gang didn't come to trouble him. Following Chen Gang's departure, everyone else in the classroom stood up from their seats and prepared to leave the classroom. Naturally, 3 of them looked towards Zhang Feng. The eyes were full of disdain. It seemed that because Zhang Feng and the others were late, these people had a misunderstanding in their hearts. The strength of these two people should be different. Zhang Xin, who had led the two of them before, also came to the two at this moment. In the evening, I went to your dormitory to look for you, and found that you two were asleep, so I left you a note on the table. It turns out that you two guys slept until that time. Fortunately, Teacher Chen seems to be lucky today, otherwise, you two would be doomed. You two guys have been sleeping just now, so you probably haven't eaten yet. Let's go, I'll take you to the cafeteria to eat first. If you don't go, the cafeteria will probably be closed. After listening to what Zhang Xin said, the two of them touched their bellies together. This was the first time the two of them walked into the cafeteria of Southwest Military Academy. There are actually a lot of students here at this time. At a glance, most of the seats in the cafeteria are occupied by students who are eating happily. On the wall behind the entrance of the canteen, the two of them also saw the opening hours of the canteen. There was only the last half hour left before the end of dinner. You can take whatever you want to eat. I'll treat you tonight. After you complete the trial tomorrow, you will be able to get your own student ID card. It will be much more convenient for you to eat and other things then. Zheng Feng nodded slightly. Then he asked, "Then do we have to pay for our meals?" Zheng Xin was obviously stunned by this question and spoke after a while. "According to my understanding, ordinary students have to pay for meals, but for people in our class, meals are usually free. If I really charge money, I won't be so generous as to let you eat whatever you want." Zheng Xin shrugged. "So, Zheng Feng, you don't need to be too anxious to find a job that makes money. Since we have been admitted early by the school, basically, we have not spent any money except tuition fees during our time in the university." Regarding what Zheng Xin said at this moment, Zheng Feng would have nodded to indicate that he understood. "That's just knowing it." Shui Tianyuan, who had already prepared the meal, sat down next to him and asked curiously, "Your trials should be the same every year, right? What were your trials last year?" Hearing Shui Tianyuan ask about this matter, Zheng Xin also frowned slightly. "It seems like the trials are different every year. Last year our trial just ended by testing everyone's talent level. Speaking of which, although I have fought against you too, your talent is assimilation, but I don't know about his." Zheng Xin pointed at Zheng Feng, who was serving food there at the moment. Regarding this question, Shui Tianyuan also shook his head slightly. "Actually, I'm not very sure. You can ask the questions yourself later when he comes back." Sure enough, at Shui Tianyuan's suggestion, when Zheng Feng returned here with the dinner plate, Zheng Xin asked the original question again. "Oh, my power is streamer." In fact, it's not that Zheng Feng wants to hide anything. After all, his mastery ability cannot be explained in 1 or 2 sentences. "So I simply made up a similar one roughly. That's it." I asked, "Why was it all light that bombarded us in the first place?" "Since you have all told me, I will briefly introduce my own abilities. My ability is transfer. As the name suggests, it is to transfer some attacks that are about to fall on you to other places around you. As long as the attacks that fall on you do not exceed the limit of my ability to transfer, I will not be injured." After talking about his own abilities, Zheng Xin also gave a general introduction to the abilities of his companions. "You have all seen the abilities of my companion. His ability is called Soil Control. It mainly exists in any place with soil, and he can create various things with soil." Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan nodded slightly when they heard this. They naturally experienced it personally at that time. At this time, Zheng Feng also remembered that when Chen Gang appeared, the attacks of himself and the third brother who ranked third disappeared. Could it be the same ability as Zheng Xin? "Then do you know what Teacher Chen's ability is?" Zheng Xin nodded slightly. Teacher Chen's ability is to devour and transform. According to his current strength, he can absorb any attack that is not from a late-stage 9th order beast. Then convert it into his own combat power and attack it out. In other words, the stronger his opponent is, the stronger his own attack means will be. Shui Tianyuan and Zheng Feng both took a breath of cold air when they heard this. This strength is really too terrifying. But after thinking about it, it should be so. After all, Chen Gang can now be said to be the person in charge of the Southwest Military Academy. Without sufficient strength, he naturally cannot hold this position. After dinner, the three of them went back to their dormitories. Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan lay on the bed, naturally did not say anything, but were thinking about tomorrow's trial. The next morning, the two woke up early. After washing up roughly, they rushed to the location that Chen Gang agreed to last night. Last night, they were only punished by standing for being late. Who knows what kind of punishment they will be if they are late today. The two were worried about being late, so at this time, they were also the first 2 people to appear here. After a while, Chen Gang and the seniors who had already determined their rankings arrived. Chen Gang glanced at the 2 people who had been standing here for a long time and didn't say anything. Before the stipulated time, the remaining 3 freshmen also arrived here. At this time, Chen Gang glanced at the faces of the 5 freshmen and spoke coldly. You 5 people found the entrance to the Southwest Military Academy within the stipulated time, but this does not mean that you can definitely stay. As long as you can't pass the trial today, you will still be expelled from the Southwest Military Academy. Now, are you all ready? Chen Gang's eyes swept across the faces of the 5 people. At this moment, after seeing his sharp eyes, one of the 5 people even took a step back instinctively because he felt too much oppression. Now, I will announce the content of your trial. I have 5 signatures in my hand, each of which is numbered from 11 to 15. After you draw the corresponding number, you need to compete with the senior student corresponding to the number. The loser will be eliminated directly. The content of this trial surprised not only these 5 people. Even the old students numbered 11 to 15 looked puzzled. They didn't receive any notification at all. Have opinions? Chen Gang glanced at the 10 people. Everyone shook their heads instantly, indicating that they had no opinion at all. Since there is no objection, let's get started. Which of you comes first? As the 5 freshmen, you looked at me and I looked at you. In the end, it was Zheng Feng who took the first step. After pulling out a signature stick from Chen Gang's hand, the numbers on it were revealed. 11. The guy numbered 11 was naturally one of the people who followed the old student numbered 3 that night. After seeing that the person he had drawn was actually Zheng Feng, he immediately swallowed his saliva. He is naturally very aware of Zheng Feng's strength. If you face him, you will definitely lose. The remaining 3 freshmen were naturally unaware of the situation. After seeing Zheng Feng take away number 11, the 3 freshmen were instantly relieved. They also know that among the opponents in this draw, the strongest one should be number 11. Now that number 11 has been taken away, it means that they can actually stay successfully, and the probability of entering the Southwest Military Academy has increased. With Zheng Feng starting, Shui Tianyuan naturally followed up and drew another person. 14. Fortunately, he got Zhao Pei. The remaining 3 people also stepped forward, and their points were drawn to their next opponents. Those who draw number 15 will compete first. After all the results came out, Chen Gang also said something. Soon, the old student numbered 15 and the corresponding new student started fighting. Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan were watching and marveling at the same time. The strength of these 2 guys is extremely close, so the battle situation is extremely anxious. It is difficult to judge who will win in the end based on the scene in front of you. 20 minutes later, the outcome of the battle between the 2 became a little clearer. The new students may have won in the end. Of course, during the battle, the old man numbered 15 also let his guard down a little at the end. After all, this trial is just a competition and does not involve changes in the final ranking, so it doesn't matter if you let it go a little bit. Even though Chen Gang had been watching from the side, he actually didn't say anything in the end. Then Shui Tianyuan, who drew no. 14 Zhao Pei, stepped forward. Because they had met before, the 2 of them smiled at each other before they started to do anything. When the battle began, Zhao Pei summoned 2 stone men without any ceremony and charged towards Shui Tianyuan. Shui Tianyuan also unhurriedly merged with one of the stone men, and the 2 stone men started killing each other. In the final result, not surprisingly, Shui Tianyuan won. Followed closely by the remaining 2 people. Among them, the guy who drew the number 12, even though the number 12 was already released, he could barely stand still and almost overturned. But fortunately, the last freshman still defeated no. 12. Finally, it was Zheng Feng's turn. This guy is probably about to be eliminated. I just played against number 12, and I can clearly feel that his strength is much stronger than the previous ones. Yeah, no matter how much trouble number 11 makes, unless he really stands still, that guy will probably have a chance to stay. What a pity. Who gave him bad luck? Luck is also a part of strength. Except for Shui Tianyuan, the remaining 3 people were talking quietly on the sidelines. One of them saw that Shui Tianyuan was not participating, and took the initiative to walk to Shui Tianyuan. I see that you came with him yesterday. You must be together, right? Looking at you, you seem to have a lot of confidence in him. Do you still think he can win? The people who came to Shui Tianyuan couldn't help but sneered. Shui Tianyuan squinted his eyes, glanced at the people around him, and then said, "He's going to win. How can he win? That's the 11th ranked guy. His strength is absolutely terrifying. He will definitely lose. How about we make a bet? How to spell? If he loses, I will let you be a cow and a horse for 4 years. If he wins, you will be a cow and a horse for me for 4 years. How about that?" Shui Tianyuan generously stated the bet. The man smiled slightly and naturally agreed immediately. "This is what you said. Don't you find that something is wrong by then? I won't accept your regrets. That's natural, and so are you." After speaking, both of them looked in front of them together. But soon, the guy who made the bet with Shui Tianyuan discovered something was wrong. So much time has passed, why are the two people who are going to participate in the competition just standing there and not moving? Why don't you take action? Chen Gang stood aside and asked with a frown. "Well, Teacher Chen, can I surrender?" Number 11 raised his hand weakly and asked Chen Gang. Chen Gang didn't speak, but nodded slightly. "Okay, then I surrender." After saying that, Number 11 went back to stand in the middle of the pile of old students. Ah, the 3 freshmen immediately stared with their mouths wide open. Is this still possible? Don't forget the 4 years of being a cow and a horse. Shui Tianyuan also said softly to the freshman beside him at this moment. "No, you must have cheated. These two people definitely know each other. In order to ensure that he can enter the school, he simply chose to surrender. There is an inside story in this trial. It's unfair." When the man thought that he would be working as a horse for others for the next 4 years, he immediately started to scream. "You mean I'm being unfair?" Chen Gang dodged and came behind him, lowering his breath and saying dissatisfiedly. The freshman suddenly began to sweat on his forehead. "Teacher Chen, since this guy says I'm unfair, let him come up and compete with me. As long as I lose, I will voluntarily give up entering the Southwest Military Academy." Zheng Feng finished speaking calmly, and then looked towards that guy. This person, whom Zheng Feng knew temporarily, had a look of contempt on his face last night when he was punished for being late and stood at the back of the classroom. At this moment, Chen Gang directly agreed to Zheng Feng's request and winked at Zheng Feng. It seemed to be telling Zheng Feng that he didn't need to hold anything back next. The freshman had no choice but to accept it at this moment. Everyone's eyes were turned towards him. Bracing himself, he stood in front of Zheng Feng. "Come, let me see how much you weigh." Standing in front of Zheng Feng, he immediately returned to his previous attitude and stared at Zheng Feng with a sneer. "Okay, but it's a pity that you can't make me happy yet." With that said, Zheng Feng was not polite, and a dozen sword energy appeared out of thin air and flew quickly towards the new student in front of him. Boom boom boom. A violent collision sounded. Those dozen or so sword energies did not cause any substantial harm to the new students. At this moment, in front of the new student, a transparent wall of air appeared out of thin air and turned into a shield, blocking him directly. In fact, Zheng Feng, who had already seen this guy's ability, was not surprised. In fact, he just wanted to try to see how capable this guy was at resisting beatings. The first round of sword energy had no effect. The second round of sword energy came immediately after. Although he was once again blocked by the shield in front of the new student. But the new student could no longer laugh at this moment. The damage and pressure caused by Zheng Feng's previous attacks had obviously caught up with the old student he had drawn before. It can be said that if he were to be his opponent in the trial, Zheng Feng would definitely be able to win without relying on the other party's help. But right now, the strength Zheng Feng has shown has not proven that he is stronger than No. 11. The third round of sword energy struck again. "Give up, you admit that your attack is indeed ferocious enough. But if you want to break through my defense, you'd better change your ability in the next life." The freshman hid behind his shield and couldn't help but sneer. Originally, he was worried that he was no match for Zheng Feng, but after 3 rounds of sword energy attacks, he realized that this guy might only know this way of fighting. Maybe that's what he's capable of. "Oh, sorry, if you want to see my abilities so much, then I'll show you." Facing the other party's ridicule, Zheng Feng said calmly. After hearing what Zheng Feng said clearly, the man's expression changed slightly. Were the previous attacks not part of his ability? Just when he was surprised, a flash of yellow light appeared on Zhang Feng's fingers. Next, yellow light flew out directly. Boom! The bright light fell on the shield and did not directly penetrate the guy's defense, but it made the guy couldn't help but take a few steps back. But at this moment, the expression of the guy hiding behind his ability has changed drastically. Cold sweat appeared on his forehead. The ability of the guy in front of me is more powerful than the original sword energy. You must know that when facing the old student who was drawn earlier, the opponent's attack seems to be unable to make him retreat. Even if he is the former number 12 old student, he is confident enough that he will not retreat when facing that old student's attack. But at this moment, he retreated. Something was wrong, so wrong. At this moment, he couldn't help but turn his head to look at Shui Tianyuan and the old students. No one seemed to be surprised that they were repelled. From what they could see at this moment, it seemed that they should have been repelled. He cursed in a low voice, and the next moment, the attack from Zhang Feng appeared again. This attack would make him take a few steps back again. However, his shield has not been broken yet, and his defense has not been broken yet, so he may not lose. You have to find a way to fight back. Thinking of this, he also took a sharp breath towards Zhang Feng's position. Zhang Feng, who was about to attack again, instantly felt something was wrong when he saw the new student's actions. The air in his current location seemed to be being sucked out bit by bit. And the initiator is definitely the guy in front of me. It was interesting, and he immediately smiled. Countless flashes of light appeared directly behind him. It seems that the attacks are still too slow. It's better to solve it once and for all. 8-foot beautiful Magatama. Countless flashes of light appeared on the shield in front of the man like a rainstorm. Waves of smoke and dust kept rising around the newborn body. When the smoke gradually fell to the ground, the new student's laughter suddenly became louder. Ha 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 ha, you still haven't broken through my defense. In this competition, I am the winner in the end. Yeah, just when the new student was extremely proud, Zhang Feng's voice suddenly rang in his ears. Zhang Feng, who was still far away from him before, appeared directly in front of him. Zhang Feng, who uttered a question, slowly stretched out his finger. At this moment, Zhang Feng slowly pressed his fingertips on the air shield in front of this person. Click. After a crisp sound, there were crisp sounds one after another. The shield in front of him collapsed instantly. Xinsheng's eyes widened completely at this moment. From his awakening ability to his current position, his shield has never been broken at all. Even during the previous martial arts test, I met a third-level ferocious beast. Even the opponent's full blow failed to break through his defense. How did the guy in front of me do it? No wonder number 11 chose to surrender. Do you want to continue? Zhang Feng stood in front of the new student and said coldly to him. At this moment, the freshman looked at Zhang Feng with a touch of fear in his eyes. He seemed to be unable to speak. When faced with Zhang Feng's question, the only thing he could do was to shake his head. In this case, is it time to apologize to me, the old student and teacher Chen? Without any hesitation, the old man quickly apologized one by one. Don't forget our bet. Shui Tianyuan, who was standing nearby, squinted his eyes and said something with a smile. The freshman's body also trembled slightly, but then he could only nod slightly. This time the freshman trial is over. The freshmen and old students also stood separately, and Chen Gang walked up to them. After looking at these guys, Chen Gang coughed slightly. I am very satisfied with the results of this trial for some of you, but I am not very satisfied with some of you. When saying this, Chen Gang's eyes naturally fell on the two freshmen. The two freshmen looked at the way Chen Gang looked at them and immediately lowered their heads in embarrassment. In fact, they didn't need Chen Gang to say anything, they knew it very well. Why did Chen Gang say this? But no matter what, you have successfully entered the Southwest Military Academy. From today on, you have enough time to grow your strength. 1 year later, I hope you won't let me down again. Chen Gang said coldly, and then looked at the old students. You old students have been in school for a year. Even if you are asked to fight against freshmen, there are still people who would choose to surrender. If we were on the battlefield now, who would you surrender to? In 1 year, see how you cultivate yourself. Number 11, who had previously said that he wanted to surrender, immediately lowered his head without any thought of refuting. After Chen Gang finished teaching these guys, he also took out 5 cards from his pocket. When an old student took you to visit the school, I should have roughly told you about it, so I won't talk nonsense. These cards will then be a symbol of your identity. How to use them and how to use them. If you are still unclear, research them yourself. Finally, congratulations on becoming a member of the Southwest Military Academy. A week later, the corresponding class schedule will be sent to you. You just need to accept it on time. Now, disband where you are. Everyone who took the student card from Chen Gang's hand dispersed one by one. Wait a moment, Shui Tianyuan shouted directly to one of the freshmen who was about to leave from here. He walked over and took a look at the name on the freshman card in his hand. Zhao Mingsheng, that's a good name. From now on, you have to fulfill your bet. Zhao Mingsheng stared at Shui Tianyuan in front of him. Although he was very dissatisfied, he was willing to admit defeat. Since he had agreed to his bet before, he could not force himself to say anything. Look at how you look now, don't worry, I won't embarrass you too much. Let's go, I'm just reminding you. Shui Tianyuan said lightly, and then walked towards Zheng Feng who was standing not far away. Zhao Mingsheng took a deep breath and was not prepared to stay here any longer. When he came to Zheng Feng, Shui Tianyuan also knew what he was thinking. Would you like to go and take a look at the mission right now? Zheng Feng naturally nodded in agreement. Soon, the two arrived at the task receiving area. On the big screen in front of you, there are about 100 tasks. The two just glanced at it briefly, and then followed the instructions in the small print on the side and placed their student cards on it. Ding! After a reminder, the original more than 100 tasks were directly reduced to about 20. There was nothing they could do. After all, they had just entered the academy. Some tasks required more stringent conditions, so naturally they couldn't accept them. Among the 20 or so tasks, Zheng Feng quickly locked onto one of them. To kill 20 forest beasts, you need to ensure that the level is above the second level intermediate level. After completing the mission, you will receive 5,000 Daxia coins. 5,000 Daxia coins can be said to be Zheng Feng's original family's income for a year. Without hesitation, after confirming the requirements of the task, Zheng Feng directly chose to take on the corresponding task. Wait a moment, just when Zheng Feng was about to press the confirmation button, a voice appeared from behind and interrupted his action. Our boss wants this task. Which class are you in? Get out of here, do you hear me? A man with dyed yellow hair walked over, putting his hands in his pockets and looking arrogantly at Zheng Feng and Shui Tianyuan in front of him. Zheng Feng just turned around and glanced at this guy, and immediately pressed the confirmation button without ceremony. Name: Zheng Feng. The mission has been accepted. Please complete it within a week. Expired tasks will be automatically invalidated. In the display screen, a voice announcement immediately appeared. Boy, are you deaf? Didn't you hear what I said to you earlier? The guy with dyed yellow hair said something dissatisfied when he saw that Zheng Feng ignored him and even solved the task. Do you know who my eldest brother is? Who gave you the courage to compete with our boss for a mission? Hurry up and choose to give up the mission, or else I'll make you look good. The yellow-haired young man stepped forward and walked directly in front of Zheng Feng. What if I say I don't? Zheng Feng responded coldly. Shui Tianyuan on the side took the initiative to step forward at this time, and stretched out his hands directly between the two of them. Isn't it just a mission? We are all students of Southwest Military Academy, why should we hurt our feelings? Okay, don't we have a training room specifically for training? How about we go over there and give it a try? If we fail, how about we just give up on this mission? After listening to Shui Tianyuan's suggestion, Zheng Feng naturally looked at him doubtfully. And the yellow-haired young man looked around. If he really took action here, it would definitely cause some trouble. So he directly agreed to Shui Tianyuan's proposal. Let's go to the training room. Let's see if Laozi doesn't beat you to pieces. The man yelled, then turned and left. Shui Tianyuan also pulled Zheng Feng and quickly followed him. What are you doing? On the way there, Zheng Feng also asked curiously. You'll find out later. Shui Tianyuan smiled slyly. Soon, a two-player training room was opened by the yellow-haired young man. Zhao Mingsheng also trotted over. What do you want me to do? When he arrived in front of Shui Tianyuan, Zhao Mingsheng naturally said something dissatisfied. Nothing, I just want you to help us deal with a guy. Don't worry, it's not something too difficult to handle. Shui Tianyuan said something to him, and then let him enter the double battle room first. Zheng Feng, who was following him, immediately understood what Shui Tianyuan was going to do. He couldn't help but shook his head. This guy is quite vindictive. It seems that the way Zhao Mingsheng looked at the two of them last night was firmly remembered by him. Zhao Mingsheng naturally didn't know what he would face in the future. The yellow-haired young man naturally frowned when he saw that there was one more person in the training room. Who is this kid? Oh, he is our boss, and he decided to help us regarding the competition. Shui Tianyuan then said something. Competition? What competition? Zhao Mingsheng will look confused at this time. Just when he looked towards Shui Tianyuan and was about to ask, he saw Shui Tianyuan's slightly opened eyes. It seemed to remind him not to forget the bet between them. There was no way, he had indeed lost in the beginning, and even if he wanted to regret it, he might not be the opponent of those two. Brother, if we really have a battle, it will be a bit troublesome. 10 minutes. As long as you, brother, can tear this guy's clothes to pieces within 10 minutes, we will be considered defeated. How about that? The yellow-haired young man couldn't help laughing when he heard Shui Tianyuan's thoughts at this moment. No, buddy, do you think my nickname of Yellow Leopard is for nothing? 10 minutes. 5 minutes is enough. Stop talking nonsense and get started. The competition begins. The hair on the yellow-haired young man's body instantly changed, and his hands grew sharp claws. It seems that his ability should also strengthen the body and then develop in the direction of certain animals. Not too strong, but not too weak either. But compared to Zhao Mingsheng's defense, his attack may not be enough. In the blink of an eye, 10 minutes passed. The expression on the yellow-haired young man's face was very wonderful. At this moment, he was staring at Zhao Mingsheng in front of him. All his attacks were blocked by the air shield in front of this guy. There was no way to touch this guy's body, let alone damage his clothes. This guy deserves to be the boss of the two guys just now, he does have two brushes. Brother, when the time is up, if you don't break his clothes, does that mean we win? Should we not give up on this mission? Shui Tianyuan, who had been waiting beside him for a long time, also said something out loud. Wait a moment. Naturally, the yellow-haired young man would not agree so directly. He took out his cell phone and bent over, wondering who he was contacting. Yes, brother, I'm waiting for you here. Finally, the guy said something very respectful to the other end of the phone, and then stood up straight. No fair, my elder brother will be here later. Let my elder brother talk to you when the time comes. As long as he agrees, I have no objection. While talking, a 1.9-meter tall man walked in from outside the training room. Xiao Huang, are they them? You are such a waste. Come on, little fool, let me show you how much you weigh. The man who came in had red hair, and when he spoke, he was slowly becoming angry. It's you, right? He pointed directly at Zhao Mingsheng, who was still standing on the training ground, and when he raised his head, a fireball hit him. All go. Isn't it the second grader known as the Flame Lord who was in the training room just now? Yeah, isn't this a low-level training room? What was he doing in there? Look, it looks like a guy is being attacked by the Flame Lord. With the appearance of the second grader named Flame Lord, there were many people outside the training room. Everyone looked inside curiously. Zhao Mingsheng originally thought that he had nothing to do with him. Unexpectedly, a guy suddenly walked in and attacked him directly without saying a word. Fortunately, his senses are very sensitive. At the moment when the fireball flew towards him, the air shield was already blocking his face. The fireball exploded, but he was still unscathed. It's interesting. It seems I have to show some strength to play with you. You actually dared to steal the mission that I like. I really need to teach you a lesson. With that said, the Flame Lord stood directly opposite Zhao Mingsheng. The air temperature in the training room rose instantly. The yellow-haired young man was so heated that he began to sweat from all over his body. Even Zhao Mingsheng picked up his clothes and fanned himself a little hotly at this time. Countless fireballs began to gather around the Flame Lord. Did you hear that? Did he just say that the three guys here stole the mission he wanted? Didn't the Flame Lord always ask his subordinates to help him take on some low-level tasks? These three people are probably also the kind of existence that is at the bottom of the pile. Then it's over. Isn't it the same as beating the chickens when the Flame Lord beats them? Should we inform the school? It would be bad if something happens. The fireballs that gathered around the Flame Lord all fell towards Zhao Mingsheng's position. Boom, boom, boom. All the red balls were split in half in midair and exploded before they even got close to Zhao Mingsheng. Who is it? Seeing that all his attacks were intercepted, the Flame Lord immediately snorted. Zhang Feng also jumped directly onto the training ground and said something to Zhao Mingsheng next to him. Let's have this afternoon, you can't deal with this guy. Zhao Mingsheng glanced at Zhang Feng, without any hesitation, turned around and walked to Shui Tianyuan. Shui Tianyuan glanced at Zhao Mingsheng and said coldly, "If I had known earlier, I would have stopped Zhang Feng. You are so lucky. I can't beat him, so why can't I beat you? Wait until the bet is over." Zhao Mingsheng also knew why Shui Tianyuan called him here. He also responded with dissatisfaction. But he just needs to be strong enough. He can help you now, won't he help me then? You. When Zhao Mingsheng heard what Shui Tianyuan said, swear words suddenly came to his lips. It's annoying to me too. I don't want to have an invincible person as my friend. Seeing Shui Tianyuan sighing at this moment, Zhao Mingsheng really wanted to give him a lap now. But at this moment, he finally did not take action, but looked towards Zhang Feng on the training ground. Boy, were you the one who interrupted my attack? You are quite capable, but you think you can defeat me. I can only say that you think of me too simply. The Flame Lord snorted coldly at Zhang Feng. Then he stamped his feet violently. Countless flames appeared on the trial ground, and the next one completely enveloped Zhang Feng. People around him couldn't see clearly what was going on with Zhang Feng. People watching the show outside the door just sighed. As a second-year student with a nickname of his own, one can imagine that this guy must have enough strength. The people outside the door, looking at the scene in the training ground, were all worried about Zhang Feng's situation. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.